That's okay. So go ahead now if you want to go watch
About how we're going to
What's the sign up ready?
Okay.
I'm pretty much ready for you.
Okay,
Are we ready?
we're ready to go.
Okay, guys, we're ready to go. I know we have a lot of people in this room, and you're all wondering what's going on. So surprise! 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 It's your birthday, right, Ting? So it's Ting's birthday. We have all these people here for her. Okay? So everybody, I know there's a lot going on. Just try to stay focused. Everybody should have the vignettes that you've started, that you've drafted. Open them up in different tabs. Okay? And we're gonna try out this lesson today and see how it goes. Some of you, if you would like to volunteer to share some of your pieces, we might get to that today. And you don't have to, so don't feel pressure about that. Okay, Abdullah? No, I know some of them are not finished. That's okay.
No, in fact, we're kind of assuming that you're not, because this is
Right.
an activity that's what we're going to accomplish to elaborate upon what you already got.
So
Do
this, yeah.
you guys remember seeing me the other day? I sent it back.
Yeah.
Some of you yes, some of you know. Okay, I'm Professor Courtmanche. You can call me Professor C. I'm from UConn. And Ms. Gohla and I have just been kind of working together. And this is something we put together that's just kind of building upon stuff that you're already doing. And she and I shared some ideas and thought about different ways that we could help you, particularly at this stage of your drafting, with word choice and voice, and really trying to develop good, strong voices in your vignettes. And so I'm going to share a vignette of mine, and Ms. Gohla and I are going to kind of demonstrate what we're going to ask you to do, and we'll see how many of you we can get through. We're thinking 2, maybe 3, given the time constraints of the class. And yes, we are going to ask a few of you to share your writing with everybody else, which some of you are terrified by, and some of you can't wait to like put it on YouTube and distribute it all over the internet. All right, because that's. So I'm gonna read this aloud. I think you have. Do they have access to it, or just up here? We have the print.
I didn't share it with them, so.
So we have print copies, we can pass them around. Okay, so I'm going to use a few terms here that I want you to be thinking about as you're listening to me read aloud. Of course, voice, which is one of these things that teachers love to talk about voice. We love to hear a good, strong voice in a piece of writing from a student. But sometimes we struggle to define it for you, what it is. Sometimes it's used interchangeably with tone, like your mother says, I don't like your tone of voice, right? But it is that sense of you that's in the written piece, where you can say, oh, that's so-and-so, and be able to tell the difference between one student and another because your voice is unique. So we really want to work on voice. Now, word choice isn't everything about voice, but it's a big part of it. I mean, everything you do is made of the words you choose. So we're going to kind of look at how word choice affects voice. So I want you to be thinking about voice. I want you to be thinking about word choice. Then I'm going to be asking you to think about adjectives, right? Remember what adjectives are? Somebody just tell me quick. What's an adjective?
Anybody? Sebastian.
A describing word, right? A descriptive word. Perfect. Angry, happy, sad, funny, right? All adjectives. Cold. All right. So be thinking about voice. What is my voice like? Be thinking about the words I choose, and think about adjectives to describe it. And then we'll demonstrate the activity and we'll ask you to do it. Okay. So this is a draft. I had, my father passed away last year, about this time actually, and I've been working on a memoir of him, a longer piece. But this is a vignette. This is just a short snippet of an early draft of my of a longer memoir that I've got now. All right, so I'm going to read it aloud. You can follow along in the piece of paper that was handed out to you. My father was admitted into ICU on the winter solstice and died on the Epiphany this past year. 16 days. I visited him 6 times during those 16 days, though he never gained consciousness. It was the first I'd seen him in more than 5 years. In fact, in the previous 8 years, I'd only seen him twice, on successive days in April 2008 at the wake and funeral of his brother Gordy. Prior to that, I'd last seen my father at the Madison Surf Club on December 18, 2005 at a family Christmas party. He bought my son a train set, and he'd sat on the wood floor of the main hall and played with Cormac. I have a photo. My son was born in 2003, and in the first 2 years of Cormac's life, my father would come visit from time to time. He'd stuff Matchbox cars in the pockets of his windbreaker and challenge Cormac to find the surprises he had hidden on himself. My father was going through one of the hardest times of his life then. He'd always had a difficult life, mostly because he was an alcoholic. My oldest uncle, Bobby, had just died in 2002, and shortly thereafter my father lost his teaching job, a career he attempted to re-enter after decades as a salesman, first for pharmaceuticals, then for computers. After many years of occasional sobriety and a certain functional alcoholism, my father fell hard off the wagon after Bobby's death, which surely contributed to the loss of his job. After that, his second wife, my stepmother Sandy, had enough and divorced him after 19 years of marriage. Things got worse from there. All right, so I'm going to ask Ms. Gohla first, and then I'm going to switch and ask you. Ms. Gohla, could you give me an adjective that describes my voice in this piece?
I want to say almost, I'm looking for a word better than sad. I know a lot of times when we write, we want to find just the right word. I'm kind of feeling almost like you're very sad about what happened with your father, maybe a little bit disappointed, gloomy.
Sad, disappointed, gloomy. What's wrong with good ones? I like them up there. I don't think this writes up here, does it?
Well, yes, you can.
Yeah, but this doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It does?
Yes, I think I have to go, if you go to, hold on. I don't know how to use this completely, but I think if I switch to pen mode, it'll work. Okay. Okay, just give it 1 second. Okay, down here. Down beside me.
Terrible handwriting. Okay, so Ms. Gohla said she struggled to find a word better than sad, but sad, gloomy, disappointed. Anybody else got an adjective that might throw out there that you think describes the voice in this vignette?
Regretful.
Regretful. That's a good one.
Much better than mine.
Let's get 2 more. Can I get another one from somebody? Going once, going twice. Okay, so let's work with those then. Maybe those are as good as we're doing.
I think, yeah, up there. Go back to the mouse. There you go. Yeah, it goes away.
Yeah, and then,
It
oh, but then the writing goes away too. No, that's not right.
goes away. Here, you want,
Actual marker.
I can do a dry erase marker. Thank you.
Okay, so we've got 4 good ones to work with. Now, what I'm going to ask everybody to think about, Ms. Gohla is going to help us here. Can you find a word or a phrase or a couple words or phrases that make you think of that adjective? Where do you see words or phrases that indicate sad or gloomy or disappointed? Is it Cameron? Am I getting your name
Yes,
right?
that's Cameron.
Cameron, like you said, regretful. That's a great word. Can you find what passage it was that made you think this guy's regretful? So take a minute, look at the actual document. You can use a pen, right, or pencil, and just underline it or circle it or bracket it.
It was the first time I've seen it in 5 years. Back in 8 years, I've only seen it twice. On the successful days on April 2008.
Okay. It was the first time I'd seen her in more than 5 years. In fact, in the previous 8 years, I'd only seen her twice on successful days in 2008 with the two brother Gordon. Okay, so that's a long, that's not even a phrase, that's a couple independent clauses, that's a couple of sentences. Is there any part of that that in particular strikes you? Is there a word there? How about the fact that you chose 2 sentences together? Cameron, you didn't just choose, it was the first time I'd seen you in more than 5 years. You chose the successive sentence too. Why is it important that those 2 are together?
Because they both have to do with 5 years that, like 5 years before, there's like a large fragment of time, and then another large fragment of time, so it's 13 years altogether.
Okay. 13 years altogether, and this kind of unpacks the depth of the not seeing. Okay. All right, so that's Cameron's choice for a passage that indicates where the word choice, or in this case, I think even syntax might be better, right? The sentence structure That connotates regretful voice. Okay. How about somebody else? Can somebody find a passage and identify a passage that you think makes it disappointing, or gloomy, or sad, or regretful? Scholar can play the game too.
I know any of the time that you were talking about him being an alcoholic, I think would go well with that, with disappointed, sad. He had a difficult life, mostly because he was an alcoholic. That sentence there.
That whole sentence. How about something else from another student? Who's got one, a word, a passage, a phrase?
I normally can't get them to be quiet.
I know, I've seen.
Yes, you have.
Go ahead, Cameron. Yeah.
All hard off the wagon.
No.
I know.
God, actually. Hang. I did that pretty good for someone who doesn't use it. That's a good phrase. That's kind of a cliche, right? I don't know if I keep that in successive job. Let's hear one more from a student before I'm going to ask you to do this with your own. Anyone else got a nice line or a passage? Sebastian?
I think it's after that, the second line, once that comes to an end, that's enough, and it goes to chapter 19. We just got rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go the room.
Okay. What adjective would you say about that one? Is that a regretful passage, a disappointed passage, a sad passage, a gloomy passage?
I think it's the same passage.
Sad.
Is your wife, is the word
Yeah. What do you think about that? Had enough.
maybe she did, maybe she explain very anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She got
Think about that. I didn't have to create such a complicated verb construction there with the had, but it does have that connotation of finality, I think.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Why won't that go away?
Because Spotify wants to keep launching.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question before we move on. What do you think of, this is more syntax than word choice, but really short passages?
You know what I can do? Go back. If you go back there, let me just freeze the screen. So there. Okay, you can still have it. Maybe you can't.
Yeah.
All right. You just use the dry erase. Underline it. All right. Well.
What do you think about the short passages? I have a photo, things just got worse from there. What do those do?
Mary, you were just telling me about this on her own. She told me about that last sentence.
What do you think?
Go
'Cause, I
ahead.
mean, those are very deliberate on my part. I was hoping somebody would say something.
Come on.
Those eyes looking at me. That's so creepy. I thought of the things just got worse from there because all have all of the experiences, and that's kind of sad because you got already problems and you got more problems then.
What do you think about putting it here instead of putting it there at the end of the paragraph, giving it its own line? What's that do? I could have done with that with the I have a photo, right? I could have dropped that and given it its own line too.
Well, yeah, maybe you try to put that one so you have a lot more to explain, and that's just when it happened, and the things just got worse from there. It's that it's starting more.
There's more to come. Yeah. I almost feel like I'm going, before I dive into the rest of the story. Kim, what were you gonna ask?
Because this gets worse from there. That's like an idea in itself. Like it doesn't need to be included in all of the other. It can just have its own idea, own sentence.
Okay, good. So this is really good. You're like entering into my text and talking. I get all sorts of good ideas. You know, I'm thinking about one passage that maybe that's a cliche. Maybe I get rid of that, or maybe I take that. I have a photo and I drop that and give it its own line like this one. I'm thinking about these things just from listening to you. Give me some feedback on this. All right. So now we're going to take a little shift here, and we're going to do. You're going to do this with your papers. So now, can they project? Can we get somebody's up here?
If anybody would be willing
So-
to share, I can put it up there.
All right. You just didn't want to have eyes on. You can have eyes on your papers. It's not on you. Okay. Well, let's.
Make sure you share.
What's your name again? I forgot your name. Remind me your name again.
My name is Adriana.
Adriana.
But call her Mary.
Mary. Okay. Well, Mary, let's get Mary's text up here, and you're. Come on.
Which one do you want me to? Which one do you want me to? Here, I'm gonna.
It's not obeying my command.
I know, I have it on freeze, that way I can.
Yeah, so it'll stop. Yeah, I'm waiting. You need the Jeopardy theme song here.
Okay, I got it, Mary. I got it. Alright.
Yeah, great. All right, want the pen? Or you can talk, and I can be Vanna White, and I can do the pen. All right.
Anybody else with pen works if I send it to my reader?
Do you want to read it aloud, or you want
It
to?
should have what I wrote there. It should I read it right?
Nice and loud.
Okay, it says, I don't remember that much, but what I do remember is when I had like 3 years, I stayed after school because my mom was working and didn't have a ride home. So I had to wait since 3:12 until 5 p.m. every single day. That day, my little friends and me were telling jokes, and one of my friends made a really good one, so we were laughing so hard that I felt if I kept laughing, I would die. So I asked the teacher if I could go to the bathroom. The teacher gave me the pass and the key. The floor of the bathroom was so wet because the water pipe was broken. And of course, the bathroom got wet. But silly me, I entered running, and the person who was fixing the pipe didn't saw me. And I got in the bathroom to release my waters. I slipped and hit myself with the toilet and opened my chin and part of my lip. I went to the classroom to the teacher, and she freaked out when she went to the office to call my mom from her job and to her to come pick me up and take me to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, I kept bleeding, and because of that, I got really white and dizzy, and everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a white room and saw a lady and didn't know, and I didn't know him because I lost a lot of blood. I instantly called her mom and said, "Mommy, what did you do to yourself? You look so different." When I got better, I felt something different in me. I went to the mirror and saw that I had stitches. I would never forget that day. And even if I tried not to think of it, I see myself and see the scar.
Okay, so put your heads together in your tables. One adjective to describe her voice, and then find some passages that help you to feel that sense of voice, to make you feel that adjective. Be able to be specific and point to something. 3 minutes. All right, I'm going to time you. Put your heads together in your small tables. What would you say What would you say is the best adjective to describe the voice? And find 3 passages that help you get a sense of that.
And then a sentence or something from the text that maybe
Well, we might not wait everybody to share. Let's be ready. Wait, what do they think? Ready, let's. What's the name?
Always regret when you have an attitude. How did she feel when she was when you don't know something, you're going to it. Yeah, she can be nervous, but when you don't, when you don't understand something, even in your schoolwork, you are always that word. Begins with a C.
Hey, what did you say?
When you don't understand something, you always say, I don't understand it. I am so confused. Yes, confused. Because she knew where she was, right? She said when she woke up, probably was the anesthesia. Out of it, she probably was like so confused.
Confused. Okay, which part? Let's go one. She's not
I'll be down in now.
Right.
Mary.
I did move across.
Okay, can we have everybody's attention again? So you go ahead and ask. You know what you're going to ask.
Okay. So, which one of the adjectives were more to describe my vignette? And I want Ting Ting to tell me, what does she think?
Okay, Ting, just start with telling us an adjective. What's the adjective to describe Mary's voice? Okay, from the time where she's talking about the time from 3:12 to 5 o'clock, okay.
Okay, she said lonely.
All right, I'm just gonna write lonely up
Yeah,
here.
there you go.
I'm gonna do it old school, because it just changed on me. Okay, lonely, good thinking, thanks. I didn't get your name, but I told you I was gonna call him. What's your name, hon? Carisha, what'd you say? You said some really smart things when I was over here working with you, Jay. Unforgettable. And what's the passage that made you think of that adjective? When I got better, I felt something different in me. Great. Cameron?
Lifeless.
Lifeless. Word or passage for lifeless?
Oh, when it said that she blacked out in the bathroom.
Everything went black. Yes.
Okay, can we get another one? These are good. Lonely, unforgettable, lifeless. Sebastian, what did you say when I worked with you? Hurtful. Oops. Okay, Sebastian, what's a passage or a word or phrase that makes you think hurtful?
I couldn't tell what you said. I hit myself in the toilet and marked my lip.
Right now, I kind of mentioned this over here, and I mentioned this at that table. What do you think, Mary? I don't even know if you're thinking about this. Sometimes we produce things we're not even aware of thinking about them. But I was thinking about this. Maybe you can even talk about this too, Mary. This middle part is about falling and getting the stitches, but you begin with your mom and you end with your mom. What's the relationship there? What's going on with all this stuff about stitches in the middle, but it's, we might say bookended, right, by discussion of her mom. What's the relationship between getting the stitches and her mom? Why do they belong in the same vignette? Cameron?
All situations.
Okay, so we got lonely, right? Were you a little scared being home from 3:12 to 5 o'clock by yourself?
Yeah.
You were a little scared waking up and not knowing where mom was?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an interesting relationship there, huh? What can you elaborate on that? Have you thought about that at all? Are you wheels turning in your head now that we're talking about it?
No, I have.
You have. What would you say? Can you share anything about your learning process there?
What I would say is that my mom's really important to me, but most of the time she wouldn't spend time with me because she works for us, for my family to be good in the health and stuff.
Okay, so she works a lot, but you mentioned when she's not there. Okay.
I'm afraid that one day I woke up and don't recognize my mom because the doctor said that I lost a lot of blood and I could have amnesia, but I did. That was good. So, yeah.
Okay. So listening to your classmates give you adjectives and point out passages that are kind of noticeable or memorable. What are you thinking you might do with the next step of the writing process when you go back to this? Got any ideas?
Not at all.
Not at all? Are you thinking though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mary. Can we maybe get another student up here?
I think we should give her a little round of applause.
Who's
We
willing
have
to?
no 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes?
Yes, I don't know if you want to start with another student or if you want to.
Yeah. Right.
I know, but I have to. What do you want?
Can I just first go fast?
Yeah.
Just because I didn't pick up on that, the frame of the mother at the beginning and the end, until someone brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
But that frame is really, really effective. Like
Yeah.
looking at it, within the context of the mother at the beginning to the mother at the end. So I would almost, how you had the single sentence at the end of your piece. I would break that into 3 different paragraphs where I start talking about mom, go to the incident and then back to mom, to make that more concrete, the fact that, it's framed by these two pieces of mom, instead of having it be one lump.
Yeah, and if I can step out of the role of talking to the students and talking to the teacher for a sec, I think that's a great example where the students really saw some great stuff in here. I might have had to have done a little leading here there to get into it, but they got it and were able to articulate some great stuff, but they might not be able to take to the step of making that recommendation. That's where we do that in conferring, right? And you can sit down, if Mary's your student, you can sit down and say, hey, what about making these paragraphs here, right? So that's the kind of thing I think can follow from an activity like this. I also think too, we can get it to a point like if I'm doing this, if these were my guys and we're doing this all year long, where Mary could have been up here doing this and I could just been standing back there. And I wouldn't have to be, kind of helping her along. I might have to do that in September, October, but by May, I'm standing back there at the back and working the thing. I've got a friend I've been kind of co-teaching with at Mansfield Middle School, and she just says to the students, who wants to take a turn teaching class today? And whether it's their own draft or it's a mentor text, they just go up there.
You give me the evil stare, it's like, I can't do that. I know you can't.
You could, and I saw last class where I came how much energy you have. If you had the opportunity to be up here and doing, I think you'd like that, wouldn't you? All right, great. Well, we're probably going to lose time in a moment anyways. All of you, thank you, and you probably see me again. So thank you, Mary. That was great. Thanks for
And
volunteering.
those of you that wanted to share, we can continue this later this week. We'll do more. Okay? Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Guys. Yes.